I want to talk a little bit about, you mentioned Messiah College. So you started college a long time ago.
Yes.
Okay. And there was you had some particular personal things that came up that made, like, sort of freeze for a while, and education just couldn't happen. And then you got to have the dream of having, being married, having your child. And then you had all these amazing jobs, like in all different, you've taught pre-K and all those things and been a, paraprofessional or teacher aide, you postal worker for many years. And in all those things, did you always keep your hope alive for the degree and everything? Because you were always still learning. You're always taking courses or developing courses for communities. You're very active. And when you left where we were, you went right into AmeriCorps. So maybe you can tell how that all things. And then from AmeriCorps, you really launched, you had the seed, a platform where you could take your seed and start doing it, studying like the laser way you do that I'm not sure everyone can do. You can compartmentalize pretty good. So go ahead, however you want to answer that.
Okay, let's see. So I started off on the traditional trajectory, graduate high school, go right to college. Some people go right into the workforce. I wanted to go on to higher education, and I did. And I left high school with so much hope and ambition, and I got to college and I failed spectacularly. When I say spectacularly, I had a 0.45 GPA for the entire year. I was asked politely to leave school and maybe come back in a year or so. And I always had it on my radar that I wanted to keep that self-promise, I will go back. Mm-hmm. I felt that I'd let down everyone who knew me by academic reputation, people who had invested in my success in many different ways, that I was really embarrassed and just felt defeated. But a lot of it was the trauma from my childhood. It felt that I'd been running on broken legs for many years, and felt that everything came to a head when I got to college. And I think it was the isolation. Mm-hmm. I was used to being in a large family as an oldest daughter, being in a caregiving role, being in a community, and suddenly I felt by myself, and I just sort of unraveled. So at the end of that year, I got married to someone that I've known since I was 8 years old. Mm-hmm. Our families were very, very close, and that's the father of my beautiful daughter, and he's a wonderful person. And we ultimately got divorced, and I became a single parent for many years. And then I worked.
Right, and also, I don't want to interrupt, but you also did lose another. You had a son, right? That you lost. Yeah.
Yes, I've lost 2 children as well.
Yeah,
but
okay. No, that came up in a story. I don't want you to get upset, but I'm just saying she's been mothering.
They're in my heart, and that is something that a lot of women contend with. But when you're trying to live your life forward and you're contending with brokenness, that not everyone can see where those wounds are and those scars are. And that can be a very difficult challenge. Mm-hmm. So
because there's that loss, and that
the loss and just everything. It was just the impact of everything coming to a head at different points in my life. But again, rising from those situations and moving forward. So I was glad that in 2019 I was able to keep the self-promise to go back to college. And my parents also, they invested in putting me in private education at the end of my high school career, and that was sacrificial. So I wanted to make good on their investment and just prove to myself that I could do it. So it took 30 years. I was stuck in traffic.
But she graduated from the school,
Ventura Community College
with a magna cum laude, and in like about 20 clubs, and student unions and this one, and
But AmeriCorps was the vehicle that I used.
Yes, and those were some impressive things you created with them, with United Way and the other. I'm going to say it wrong.
Cabrillo.
CEDC. I was going to say CECD. Yeah, Cabrillo.
Economic Development Corporation. Wonderful opportunities, and it gave me a vehicle to serve the community, but also work towards an education award, which then I used to go back to college as a full-time student, which I did in 2019. So
right. So, and the other thing I wanted to say is then from that, you have taken it. We got 5. Great, good. We're getting there. You took it, and with that degree and those high accolades, you pursued major colleges all over the country to do your last 2 year, complete your undergrad, and then I'm assuming go on to the master's. So, and let's tell them the result. We have like 5 minutes. So
okay. So basically, I am in my 2nd semester at Columbia University. Go Lions! And it's been
PALS.
I was offered a very generous scholarship that's based on leadership and service in academics, so that's wonderful. That was the deal I could not refuse, and that caused me to shift across the country. And
But closer to some of her family now,
absolutely,
too.
and some of my friends.
Yes.
So glad to be your neighbor finally, Anne Marie, and we get to hang out more. But it's been glorious, and it's been a very challenging move to live in New York City is unlike any place else I've ever lived. And it's my boot camp for whatever comes next. So I'm excited to be here, and I'm looking for good things to happen.